Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's going to be reviewing a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon X. Before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Doug Smith Dodge Ram Jeep Chrysler here in American for giving me some time with this Wrangler. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below. I'll also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Powering this is a turbo 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through an 8-speed. Fuel economy is 20 around town and then 22 on the highway, with power outputs being 270 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. Before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention if you're into some more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So with the Rubicon, you get the hood vents there up top, which I think is really cool. Rubicon here on the side. And then being loaded up, we've got the cool turn signal indicators. We've got the upgraded headlights as well. And then I really like the new grille. I think it looks sharp. Red tow hooks to signify it's a Rubicon. You also have the upgraded steel bumper. Fog lights integrated. Really aggressive approach angle. Everything on this is set up for off-roading. And speaking of off-roading, we've got 35-inch tall tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels with this in the front and over in the rear. And you can see here with the wheels, you've got that cool kind of we'll just call it a beadlock beauty ring. Anyways, we've got a solid front axle with the Wrangler, and then you've got the little fender flare extensions with this. This is lifted for the 35s. And then you've got the Jeep Wrangler logo there, rock rail protection from the factory. And look at the stance on this. Again, you got to remember, this is a factory vehicle. This isn't modified. That's cool. Then this leads us to the key fob. We've got a lock and unlock function, remote start. Got the Jeep logo there on the back, which is pretty cool. And I also want to mention this one has the body painted hardtop, which I think is a cool feature. Anyways, spare tire here on the back. Again, 35-inch tall tire. And we've got Jeep's little swing gate, which, let's make swing gates great again. I want to see more cars with that. Anyways, you got the window as well, which is pretty nifty. But yeah, plenty of storage space here in the rear, being the 4-door. We've got more underneath as well. And also you can store little bolts and everything from the top if you take that off. Little 12-volt, got the cage that is painted there. And then it's pretty simple with closing. Cool taillight design here on the JL generation. And then you do have the reinforced carrier for the 35, for those of you that are wondering. Recovery point there in the back. And then if we pop underneath, you guys can see the axle there in the rear as well. But yeah, that's the rest of the exterior. Again, I think this looks killer from the factory. And then popping inside, things are actually really premium. So soft touch here at the top of the door panel, and then you got the nice red stitching down below. And then here with the seats, we've got more of that red stitching throughout. They do give you a grab handle, which makes getting in a little bit easier, but still gonna kind of step up quite a bit. It is a little bit tighter back here, but you can fit. We have vents here in the rear, got our window controls and all of that. Yeah, I like the dorky headrests. Anyways, nice insulated headliner with this particular one, and good headroom, of course. You can see we've got keyless entry, and then again, more of that soft touch here up front, red stitching down below. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors. And then payload is important for Jeeps, 840 for that. And then here's the rest of the seat. It is power adjustable. Got all of our light controls here. Steering wheel's manually adjustable. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you can see we've got nice trim all around, stitching there in the center. Radio controls on the back. Bunch of practical controls in the front, including our cruise control. You've got adaptive cruise control as well. We've got controls for the center, regular stocks here on the back. And then we've got Jeep's gauge cluster, which has the digital element in the center, which you can use to see different bits of info. Good to know on the tire pressure there. Also lets you know what the transfer case is doing. Now this comes with the front and the rear camera, so I think that's pretty cool. And then as for the rest of the infotainment system, takes a second for some stuff to load up, but overall pretty good with the response. Heated seats, heated steering wheel as well, dual zone climate, you got all of that. And as you can access the cameras there pretty easily as well. It's like stitching here across the dash, and then this is pretty cool with the trim there. Glove box, it's nice. And then we've got a bunch of physical controls here. So for the heated seats, the heated steering wheel, the climate, radio controls. We also have like our off-road cruise control, and then down below you've got all of your window controls and some USB ports here. And then if I move this out of the way a little bit, you can see we've got our off-road plus, sway bar disconnect, front and rear locking diffs as well, being a Rubicon. We've got our, I would say, pretty cool four-wheel drive select. So basically you've got, here, closer, four-wheel drive auto, which is kind of like all-wheel drive, and then you have your four-wheel high, part-time, and then your four-wheel low as well. So it's cool to give you all that. We've got some more storage here. Pretty solid. Like the trim here on the top. Rear view mirror, pretty normal. And then again, top insulation, and then this is the hard top, so you can take off the front easily. Just those latches. The back, of course, you got to use some tools. So here's our Honda Civic 2025, and I think it actually got more affordable compared to before, because I feel like this spec would have been over 70 before. But anyways, you've got the Rubicon X package, which gives you fully loaded and 35s and all of that. But yeah, there's your total MSRP, $69,095. So it's kind of pretty similar in price to where the Bronco lineup is. So this would compete against a Sasquatch package with the, not the Wild Track, but the Badlands Sasquatch. Anyways, see how it performs. So let us set off in the Rubicon X. I think that they changed, man, I review so many cars, so it's kind of hard to remember all of the finer details. But I think they changed the package, because I remember the first Rubicon X I reviewed did not have 30, maybe it was a Gladiator. I feel like it didn't have 35s. I feel like it was just loaded up interior, and then you still had to do the extreme recon. Maybe I'm wrong. But regardless, I mean, this is a nice departure from what we've seen in the past, where, you know, I don't know, it's still a lot of money, obviously, almost 70 grand, 70 grand after taxes, but I mean, it's right there in line with Bronco pricing, which I do want to make some comparisons to that, and also some of the other vehicles in this segment now, because Jeep's got a lot of competition in today's market. You've got, as I was saying before, my GoPro rudely interrupted me by dying yet again. I don't know what's wrong with the thing. I might have to just get a new one. Anyways, there's a lot of competition now. You've got the Ford Bronco, Ineos Grenadier, the Toyota siblings, the Lexus GX 550, and the new Toyota Land Cruiser. Land Rover Defender, to an extent, that's the unibody vehicle. It's not body and frame like all the other ones. But you have a lot of boxy vehicles that a lot of people compare Wranglers to nowadays. So the market's just a lot different. Now, in terms of the driving of the Rubicon, and here, I'll point you guys this way, it's nice. So the new setup is actually really good. There is more insulation. Again, part of that's the antenna in the windshield, and then also part of that is just how the suspension setup is now. It just feels like it handles better, so it's less annoying, because, you know, Wranglers, solid axles front and rear, it's kind of floaty all over the place, but this feels a lot tighter compared to before. So I think that is a departure in the right direction. And then when it comes to acceleration, the 2.0 turbo ain't bad. Again, this is moving 35s. You gotta remember that. So for having to move 35s, that's actually decently quick. Now again, on the highway, you're gonna get some wind buffeting up top. You're gonna get just general road noise and everything. That is one thing that is a little bit of a downside with the Wrangler, is, you know, having a convertible where you can take off all of this stuff up top means that you're going to get more noise in general. And that is one thing to also note about some of the competition that I guess we'll kind of talk about with summing things up. But yeah, this 2.0 is not bad. I know some people might miss the V6, which, don't get me wrong, I think the V6 is cool, super reliable. But here, you know, higher elevation, we're over 4,000 feet above sea level. It's nice to have turbo power. You don't have as much power loss. So I think it's a plus overall. This is kind of a weird, here, I'll give you guys kind of like a higher up view. Weird way to film. Really gotta figure out what's happening with GoPro, because it works perfectly fine until it doesn't. And there's no way for me to guess when it's not gonna work. It just goes poop, and then it's done for. Get one more acceleration, and then we'll, the sun is bright. Something's up. Traffic. Here we go again. Zoom, zoom. Transmission's really good too. So overall, the Wrangler, I would say, is pretty much as good as it's ever been when it comes to capability, right? Again, this is from the factory, 35-inch tall tires, front rear locking differential, sway bar disconnect. Like, this has so much off-road capability right off the bat. I mean, to like push this vehicle to the limits, you'd basically have to be in a situation where you might die. I'm serious, with how much capability this has. That being said, I think that things have kind of shifted quite a bit. So like I said, there's more competition, which definitely adds to, you know, making the Wrangler in a much different world, where it used to have a monopoly. It doesn't have a monopoly anymore. But also, vehicles are so expensive nowadays. So back in the day, right, when people had more buying power, then you had a situation where also Wranglers were a lot more affordable. You could buy a Wrangler as like a secondary vehicle. So a lot of people would just buy some sort of daily drivable car and then they buy a Wrangler. But $70,000, that's just not feasible for most people. And so a lot of people, myself included, right, look at the Wrangler and go, I love the Wrangler, but my big beef with the Wrangler is the fact that it just isn't all that daily drivable, right? The storage space is lacking compared to other, you know, bigger SUVs that are needed practicality wise. And then the noise, right? The road noise, the ride quality, all of that, it's just not as daily drivable. And so when you look at the price tag, you go, I'm okay with giving up, most people, myself included, I'm okay with giving up a little bit of off-road capability and having something that is more comfortable, more daily drivable. And that's where I think these other cars come and play. You know, Ineos Grenadier, and it, for example, is kind of like a Wrangler and a 4Runner had a baby. It has solid axles, but it's not quite as off-road capable as a Wrangler in terms of rock crawling. And it's more daily drivable than a Wrangler, like a Toyota 4Runner. And then you've got the new Toyota siblings, right? The GX and the Land Cruiser, which super daily drivable, like full-on luxury cars. And, you know, not really, I mean, they can go off-road, right? I own one, a Land Cruiser, but it's not going to be doing crazy stuff. But again, most of the off-roading that myself included does is not all that difficult, right? It's, you know, a lot of steep hills, there's some crawling, and as long as you have skid plates, you can kind of make it over. So let me know what you guys think. I think the Wrangler is really cool. I think this Rubicon X package is really cool. I think that Jeep has a lot of competition, and so I don't know what they should do. My thought, like, I'll quickly end it with this. My thoughts in the past is that something that Jeep could do is basically do two different Wranglers. Do one Wrangler that's like a Land Cruiser, where it is still body on frame, but independent front suspension and not a convertible. So it's like more insulated, more daily drivable. And then do like a Wrangler like this, lower production because not as many people are gonna be looking for this, and then give it like crazy performance. So do like a V8 version that's limited edition, so keep doing the 392, and then maybe do the Hurricane, again, smaller numbers. I don't know, that's a thought. So I think they could split the Wrangler up, and then I think that would sell more vehicles overall, but maybe I'm wrong. Anyways, let me know what you think.